I did join Jamnalal Bajaj Institute of Management Studies in Bombay and passed out in 1974. At that time, I was 21 and a half years old and still not very sure about how I wanted to start working on what I wanted to work, but I was clear that I wanted to do something with purpose. So, at that time there were only 4 institutes in the country of any standing, and that was Bajaj, there was IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Calcutta, and there was XLRI in Jamshedpur. So as a result, we students used to get a lot of job offers because there were insufficient students. The country was just waking up because it always happens with emerging economies that suddenly everyone wants to become bigger in whatever they were doing in the country, and so there were a lot of jobs on offer. So, but one thing I was clear on, I didn't want to do a job which I was not finding very interesting for myself, for my society, etc. So, for example, I don't want to say this negatively, because a very powerful institution, Citibank offered me a job, and I humbly told them that, look, I don't want to make money out of money. So that's just something I wanted to give you a background of. Instead, I joined a company called Borosil Corning, which was a subsidiary of the American company Corning Glass Works, the biggest glass company in the world and a leader in very sensitive technologies. The head of the Human Resources Department of professors in Jamnalal Bajaj was headed by Captain Harry Selby, who happened to be the HR head of Borosil Corning, and he told me why I should join Borosil Corning, so I ended up joining Borosil Corning, and that was a fantastic decision. That was in 1974, and I think, I was 21 and a half years old at that time, and it was a very scientific based job because it was laboratory glassware, it was chemical plants made out of high technology glass, it was consumer glassware. I think everyone is familiar with Pyrex. And in 1976, I was promoted to the regional manager South. And at that time, I was 23 and a half years old, or I'm 52 born, anyway. But in the meantime, someone I thought was better at me at most anything was my wife, Kumkum. And she had graduated from Lady Shriram College, and she did her social work at Delhi School of Social Work, where she topped the university. And I thought this is someone I really wanted to spend my life with, and somehow she agreed. We got married in 1975 December. We both were 23. Anyway, that is enough of a scholarly background, but coming to after that, Borosil was 6 years of fantastic experience. I was transferred to the north to also try and handle the government relations in Delhi of Corning, because George Fernandez wanted all foreign companies to reduce their equity dramatically, which Corning could not do under US law because it was a technologically defended company and it could not operate anywhere without control. Companies at that time, as you may recall, like Coca-Cola, had to exit the country. But anyway, Corning could not then continue with investments, and end result was that somehow people thought it would be a great idea that if I could join them, and I had a meeting with Lala Charatram of the Shriram Group, and I joined Usha National in Lucknow as the divisional manager. I was 28 years old, I think, and I had a team of 200 people under me, which included a very highly militant union of mechanics. Great people, but very militant about their demands, and they were always demanding. That was, in those days, the UP way. So, during my 3 years with Borosil, Kumkum was under armed guard half the time, because we were always in confrontation with this militant union who unfortunately had a dramatic way of doing things. They had marched the Union Carbide factory manager down Hazratganj in handcuffs and things like that. So anyway, it was a great time. But then we had a daughter, and I thought that I needed to do something else, do something exciting abroad. And I got an offer from a company called Almana Group, which was based in Qatar, but used to operate nationally. And I joined the executive board as executive director in national. And ultimately, I had 7 companies reporting to me, out of which 4 companies on a greenfield manner I myself had started in various countries, including in Turkey, set up a factory in Turkey, etc. And what was very interesting was dealing with all nationalities around the world. Yeah. So there were a lot of objectives which we had. So within a core group of 12 people who actually ran the company, we spent a few days till late at night basically saying we are going to have a world-class company, come what may. We will have a world-class company. What is needed to do that? We have to have highly knowledgeable people. Highly knowledgeable meaning that the knowledge of the latest technologies which should be in India, and the basics of the technology, the fundas, we must know. And yes, it was jointly agreed that that was very important. Simultaneously, we would need very knowledgeable people in our team. Our entire team must be a team which will become known as very knowledgeable by global standards about flexible packaging, the basics of flexible packaging. We would strengthen our technology in terms of both the knowledge as well as the equipment. We would definitely need to communicate the objectives of the company throughout the company, from the printing operator upwards till the top. And we have to talk and talk and talk and keep talking. So, and there has to be a uniform value culture developed throughout the company. But uniformity, everyone knows what are the objectives. We need finance. because particularly equipment was very expensive and nothing was available in India. It was all, this is 1987. And simultaneously, we brought in a brand new, very ambitious consulting company headed by two, just I think 2 years earlier, they had passed out of IIM Ahmedabad. Very bright, very nice guys. And they had started a company called Feedback Ventures. It is now very well known, of course, and the chairman Vinayak Chatterjee was at that time. We were the first real serious assignment they'd taken on, and that was to ensure that the company's computer systems, etc., were jumped from, the card-based old mammoth box of a computer, which was based in the headquarters in Thana. And it was jumped, and that everyone would be trained, and it would be a very fundamental, simple but fundamental ERP. We took a decision that long hours, then we must also have a lot of fun while doing it. And we tried to spread that culture throughout the company. Now, this was all the time, and it was also when the company was had to grow, and there were new factories being set up, etc. Then that culture was instilled there. We also instilled it in all the existing people and the newcomers, because we started we established three programs for incoming people. So we recruited a lot of ITI people who would actually run machines, and this was ITI. That means diploma in mechanical engineering or electrical engineering, etc. We recruited them, and they were called craftsman trainees. And we recruited engineers from Regional Engineering College, and they were called graduate engineer trainees. And we recruited people from management school, because we needed people who at least understood commerce. And in those days, the management schools were not so theoretical like they are today. And particularly the ones in Bombay were much more practical, because they had practical, their professors were from industry itself. And we called them management trainees. So they would all be trained in the technology of flexibles. The technology and the basics of flexibles. What do I mean by fundas? It's like, this is a Flexo summit. A lot of flexible packaging, almost everyone in flexible packaging at that time was Gravure. Of course, there were not too many companies, but Gravure. But what is the fundamental difference between Gravure and Flexo? To my mind, it is that in one technology, which is Gravure, we have the problem of dot loss, color loss. And in Flexo, we have a problem of dot gain. And, this funda was taught to me by someone in Germany. And I understood, of course, because it's quite easy when you see the plates and the cylinders. And but people didn't know it. But that's what makes the difference very often in the quality of tonal work being done, half tones as we used to call them, dot gain or dot loss. And so the whole thing was that the entire company, across the length and breadth of the company, came to understand some basic fundamentals that this is what we are going to do and this is what we will be proud of. One is very good quality of product. Very good quality of product. Second, hygiene. So any of our factories, all of them went into very expensive in a way, because if you have to shut down a factory for 3 days just to clean it up, and where everyone is working and cleaning up, and they themselves are getting so filthy cleaning up. Flexible packaging business is a filthy business on a shop floor. So, but hygiene, very important. Safety, extremely important. So the ways of working were changed to make sure that safety was given the highest importance. And everyone realized in due course, after a year of the new ways of working, that actually it was economical. Because there's a lot of criticism, oh, this is I was known as SG, so SG will drive us into bankruptcy. ये क्या कर रहे हैं, ये नहीं करने का, वो नहीं करने का, ऐसे काम करने का. But it actually, the cost per square meter of material went down. Just because you had safety orientation, hygiene orientation, and made sure of it. The profits actually improved. During this process, one had to do two rights issues to raise money. And with the rights issues, the money raised was very good. The return on the money raised was very good. However, the control of the family, which was originally in 87, it was 51%, had come down to 32%, because we could not subscribe in the amount which was required to maintain the control of 51%. So, if an issue required us to buy 10,000 shares, we could only afford to buy half that, 5,000. The philosophy of the company was always clear. There'll be no bribery, no black money, nothing. And this is one of the rarer companies where that was observed extremely strictly. So there was no money to buy shares. You had to take out from your wallet, and wallets were not exactly very bulky. So the control came down to 32%, and at that time, I had to call a meeting of the family principal shareholders, including myself. Actually, my shareholding remained the same, because luckily I was a small minority shareholder, so I didn't have to buy that much. And I had been able to maintain, but the rest had gone down. So it was decided one needed to get a partner. And because there was no one in India we could look forward to in having a partner, we went abroad, and there was a company called Van Leer. Some of you may remember. It was one of the leading companies in flexible packaging in the world. Van Leer was Dutch headquartered, Holland, and spent a lot of time with their CEO cum chairman, and they were merging with this other leading company called Huhtamaki, where also I spent a lot of time with the CEO cum chairman, and I like both of these people, and they both were adding their technologies when they were merging. So, cut a long story short, we decided to merge with them. And the board of PPL was quite impressed, and hence we did a joint venture with them in 1999. See, in the meantime, there was where was all the money spent? In 1994, we built the Silvassa plant. Hindustan Lever had taken a decision to build 5 plants in Silvassa due to the excise duty, free excise duty available in Silvassa. And Hindustan Lever was our biggest customer. So one follows the customer. Customer said, you better follow us and set up a plant immediately because we are going to have 5 factories, so you better have your factory. So we built Silvassa factory, and at that time, people from abroad who came and reviewed everything in the factory, they said it's as good as anything in Europe. There's nothing in Europe which is better. In terms of design, in terms of the quality of people we had there, most of them were newcomers we had trained in the Thana plant first for 6 months and brought them in. The same thing was there in the other existing factories. We bought again a large factory, when we set up a large factory in Rudrapur. Built, some of you may remember, Ballarpur Industries, which was owned by Gautam Thapar. They had a joint venture with Auckland and Rousing in Hyderabad. We bought that factory out, spent a lot of money expanding capacity by 200% and actually completely making a factory which was brand new in terms of everything. So all the money was spent well. We had a great relationship with Huhtamaki. Maybe I was a little careless during the time of the joint venture agreement with Huhtamaki Vanlia, that I had agreed to help them if they really needed help personally. So they invoked that clause, and I became the executive director and global in charge of Huhtamaki Global in due course. And that was crazy. I was chairman of PPL. I was same time directly overseeing €1 billion global company, which was the flexibles company of Huhtamaki. But it was great fun, and in the end, India also benefited. So I think I better now keep this, because I think someone is going to come in and talk to me.
Yeah, absolutely right. So thank you so